everyone. I'm Monica Bachchan here, and I'm today sitting with Miss Rita Singh. She is an entrepreneur, chairman and managing director of MESCO Steel. MESCO Steel was founded in 1992. Ma'am, you are one of the most successful women entrepreneur in the country who entered the hard men dominated steel industry. It gives us a great pleasure to knowing you. Please give us a brief description about MESCO Steel today and decade ago.
Well, MESCO Steel came into being in 1992 when the steel sector was opened up for everybody, for private businesses, and that is how we came, and we were one of the first ones to come to Odisha at that point of time, and that was at that time Biju Patnaik ji was the chief minister, and we came there and we set up a pig iron plant there. Was there. Of course, what was happening when we started at that time, again in 96-97 there was a slump, so there were many issues, and one went through, whenever you start a plant you go through many issues which are there, so we went through that and we commissioned the plant in 2004. So we started production in that time in 2004, and now it's 2019. There are many changes which has happened, what has happened so many years before, and what I see what's happening today. I would like to say that today our steel production has risen. The government wants the production to rise to about 300 million tons, but what we see from our side of this thing is that we need to address few things which I'm sure that the present government will address. And one of them is the financing part of it, the banking sector. First of all, our interest rates are very high, and there has been the decisions have not been there, and we've not been able to get the funds which were either allocated for us, sanctioned for us. Even those funds we were not able to get. So that is one a major issue we find, because if you're wanting to come to 300 million tons, then industry like us, which is doing a smaller capacity, should be able to get those funds. So we are about 1 million ton in one plant and 1 million ton in another plant, so 2 million tons. I think we should be able to get the funding. If we are showing the viability to them, I think that's what is one thing. Number two, I've always said in many areas or many seminars that our royalties are very high, because nowhere in the world one is paying that kind of high royalty to make the cost of the iron ore prices higher. There are many views for it. I mean, some are pro this and some are against it. The third issue, of course, is the mining issue, which I've also addressed a lot, that some of the mines which are going to expire in 2020 should be given extension for their mines, and that retrospective compensations which were put, they should be addressed again, because I think that was a wrong order, and I think that should be addressed definitely.
So right now, how are you sourcing raw material, and once the mining leases will get expired in 2020, how do you plan to manage?
No, I'm already sourcing raw materials from outside, because our mine has been shut. Because the compensation which was given to us, I don't think so.
Outside, do you mean locally you're procuring, or you are importing?
No, I'm locally. I'm producing. I'm buying it from OMC. I'm buying from private mining companies which are in operation. So I'm buying from them. So I'm buying locally, not importing, because our quantities probably can be fulfilled from India itself. And I think there are enough mines, if they are allowed to work in a manner which is there. So I think we should be able to get the material.
So are you facing any challenge towards raw material cost, since you are sourcing from outside?
See,
having your own mine and then making use of it is a different thing altogether, but sourcing from outside is definitely impacting your pocket.
Yeah. First of all, I must say that when we came to state of Odisha, where you put up a steel plant, the reason was that you'll be able to get cheaper raw material. So that's why we had got a mine after that, because you set up a plant and you require that. So our mine was a very main important issue there, that we should be able to get raw material. Then we purchased a plant also, and that also for the reason that we had the mine. So I think that is two issues which I am answering in this area, that the iron ore is the main raw material, as well as the coke is the raw material. These are the two major raw materials. We came to Odisha because the iron ore was available, and now because of this one order, we are not able to get, and we've got to source it from outside. So I think that should be addressed for entrepreneurs like us, should be asked. I think we can give all the reasons for it, and I think that is a very important issue, that retrospective compensation should be withdrawn. That's how I see it.
And where are your major markets, in India or in abroad?
We did exports quite a lot earlier to Thailand, to Korea, and to Japan for our materials. But today the prices are better here in India itself, and requirement is there, so we are selling more in India. A very small portion is for exports.
So you might have witnessed a lot of changes in the steel environment for steel producers mainly. Can you define those changes?
What type of changes? I mean, I didn't understand the question. Sorry.
Change in the working scenario, product mix, pricing.
Yes, there is a great change in all over, where everybody is going for focusing on different products, and they will like to make sure that the quality of the products is better. That changes are there. Many of them, technology wise also, there are a lot of changes, that you want to produce a certain product with a higher technology and get a competitive cost on that. So even these changes are there, and these are ongoing changes, so it will carry on happening.
So what is likely to be your EBITDA and PAT in financial year 18-19?
This year it will be much more lower, because as I mentioned that we had to buy the iron ore, so the EBITDA will be dropped because of that, and I think that's why we feel, and our productivity should be more. So if our productivity was a little bit more, we would have made much better profitability. The reason being, because I mentioned earlier that the plants we had taken, that kind of financing we could not, so we did not do full production on that.
What is your opinion on NCERT and how it is being addressed?
I haven't really gone into detailing of NCERT, but what I find from many people when I talk, I think they have to address that the various entrepreneurs who are getting into NCERT, I think they have to understand whether that entrepreneur has really worked hard, and because of certain reasons that he is now into NCERT, I think that has to be addressed. So I feel that should be heard by the NCERT and NCLAT, which is there. So I think that is a very important and I think if we don't do that, the entrepreneurs will feel very discouraged. So I think that's also a very big issue.
Modi ji is anyways encouraging startups and entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I think he must look into
so I would like the Honorable Prime Minister that they should call people like us also to address our issues and problems, because there are many medium industries in these last few years which are shut down. So I think that's a very issue. I'm sure that they know about it, and we had sent some letters to them, but I think this should be also, we should be asked again, so that when the new policy comes, they should also ask us for our views, and those should be taken into it.
Are you looking for any JVs or mergers?
We are surely looking for JVs. We would like to have JVs. We have asked some of the companies to come and see. So some Chinese company had come, then there was a Korean company also had come. So I think they should see, and we say that will add up more interest. So JVs could be with an Indian parties also. I think that's very important. That has not happened too much in India, that where two Indian companies get together and make a JV. It's happening, and the changes happening. Foreign companies. So I feel that today, that as the market is going to change dramatically, even Indian companies can come into JVs and work on that.
Now, since a lot of international companies are countries are imposing duties on import, and so is MESCO is impacted because of these duties? Like you said, you export a lot of material. We
were impacted, let's say, like we've been talking about coke prices. The coke prices, import of coke from China, there is a duty. So we stopped buying from China at all. But the other areas, the destinations are longer, so sometimes we take long, we have to plan much more ahead. So that was helping. So we've also asked that the coke prices for the coke, the import duty should be taken off. Then there are other areas where we feel that I'm sure the steel companies are going where they think that a lot of inferior steels are coming, and that's why they would like the duty to be imposed on that. So I think there's enough papers on that which is gone for that.
Yeah. With regards to FTAs, which
That's
India is signing and going for RCEP, do you think we will be in a difficult position if we sign RCEP and FTAs with countries? Because then they will get a window to dump more steel into India.
I think we should see now with our new policy, with the new government is coming first, we have to see what is that happening on that, and then studying, and then I think we can give on that. But of course, definitely unnecessary dumping will create problem. But our how I see is that we need to market a product more into villages and rural, and that will increase because our own consumption can be quite high itself as it is. When we are going to create more infrastructure, I think our own consumption will be very large.
And what is the one positive change you have noticed in your last 10 years?
I think there are lots of positive notes. I won't say one. I think there are lots of positive. I find lots of youth which is coming in who would like to do things differently. Even people of my age would like to change and do things differently. So I see that happening, and I think what I see is that ahead of the next 5 years there's going to be a dramatic change. The whole country will change, and it's very interesting phase of our life where I find that even the villages which are wanting, because of the internet and the all the social media, there's so much of changes which are taking place. With that, if we have the right government policies and we have the right, I think we have the right decisions on like banking and other, and the fear should not be there. That is very important, where I find that people who are doing the business should do the business in a manner, of course correctly, but the fear should be missing from that, and that will change dramatically.
There is a perception, the business is usually seen in a very negative manner, which needs to be changed, because we talk about employment, only the business people provide employment in the end. So I think the perception also needs to be changed.
Yeah, because last 10 years or 15 years, if you go back, money making was not seen very well. I mean, you don't see, okay, if you are going to do a business, you have to do the profitability to give better jobs to people, better environment to your staff. So even that was not taken very well. Today that perception is changing for sure. But still, as soon as when you see a business person, you say, okay, he must be doing something, which is not. So I find that perception they should be treated with respect, A. And I think we have to also express ourselves more to change that perception.
What are your expectations from banking sector?
I think a very important first expectation from a banking sector is to make decisions and stick to their decisions. I think that is where the problem has come, because there has been many issues as we are streamlining things. So when you find that the bankers things are talked about 8 years or 10 years before what has happened, or 6, and actions are taken on them, they've stopped taking decisions. So like one case, as I mentioned, that we took over a plant and we mentioned that the plant will not be viable if the capital expenditure is not put. Otherwise, we were not willing to take it. But even that, after a written order, we find the banking did not act on it. So then we could be we could be into problem because of that, where they have not taken. So I think that's a very important area where companies like us should be called and discussed, and also the banking people should be called to make decisions. And I think the actions taken on them should not be so drastic as such.
And as a steel entrepreneur, what is your expectation from the new government?
I think the new government definitely knows what they are going to do, because they know very well what is the problem in the country. So they are going to help the steel industry. As I see it, they are going to help the other industries. But my one point will be that they should help so many medium industries which are today shut down, which employ a lot of people. Those industries to be given also focus, so that they are not shut up. So the whole over India, let's say, I always mention that a country like Germany grew because medium scale industries also grew. But today in India, I find there are many industries, especially in steel, if you see, many of the industries are onto sales or NCERT and not started. I think that should be also looked into it.
Ma'am, your love for dogs and other animals is commendable, and it's really happy and proud to know that you take care of over 2,000 animals, and that too not considered it as a CSR.
Yeah, that's my passion in life, which has been, a lot of people ask me this question. Since I was very young, I always liked all types of animals, but I ended up having more dogs because it started off with one or few, and then as you started, you found them on the road, so you kept on picking up. So I've got dogs, I've got also cows. I've got a lot of cows in our village, and I do that. But I picked up all kinds of animals which are there, that is there, but definitely the quantity of dogs quite a lot, and it's not only in Delhi. I've also, where our steel plant is there, I even got dogs there. So basically, as I see it, that has been a passion of mine, and I think I find very strongly about cruelty to animals.
So haven't you thought to put it into CSR?
No, I didn't start with the thought of CSR.
You would have got a lot of advantages from the government.
Yes, sure, sir. I haven't got any funding from anybody on that, but I just started with very small when I started it, and I never thought that it will become larger than what I'm doing, and now I'm doing it, so I think we can think about it later. But my main aim in life is to talk to people, because I find in cities, big cities, a lot of people are very scared of dogs and animals.
Yeah.
So I would like to bring that message across to children, how to improve upon that.
That's great. That's lovely having you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for the
much.
wonderful
Thank you,
interview.
sir.
Thank
Thanks.
you.